Today we all will be talking about the components of the research paper. Now, before starting this particular type or this particular lecture, I like to tell you that we had already discussed that when we do any type of the scientific research, so what we do, we just disseminate the data in the various form, and we have already learned that how to present the data, right? In the various form, we can do it into the oral presentation, poster presentation, report writing. It can be your any other forms like writing the paper into the journal. So, journal article, magazine article. It can be your a complete thesis. So today we all will talk about the research paper. How can we write a research paper? What are the component of the research paper? And this is something very important. This will be very helpful for you because when you will do your research in TY, you will be having a complete project. So in that project, after completing your work, you have to write a report. Now, last lecture you have already learned how to prepare a research report, but if you feel like that yes, your work is up to the mark, you can publish that particular paper in the research. Today whichever paper I am showing you, it is published by our TY students only, and as we have guided them, they have added our name. So this is the research paper which was published by the TY students only, what we are going to see it as an example. Now, when we talk about the component of the research paper, now see when we are doing our work, so it must be in a standard format, especially if you are presenting into the sorry, you are publishing into the journal. So the science journals have a very particular format. They have their other formatting like editing this much font and all, but that is not very important. It is important because it varies from journal to journal. Information given in a research paper should be organized in a manner that flows in the form of hourglass. That is, information moves from general to specific and back to general. Understand? Means first we will be talking about the general thing. That means you're going to giving the introduction and all. Then thereafter you will be writing about the specific thing, what method you have been used. Then at the end, again back to the general means you will conclude it, and you will say how it will be useful for day-to-day life or for whatever purpose you have done that particular research. When we are talking about introduction and literature review section, this will present the general aspect of the problem. What are the whatever research is done. Now, how we are doing the research, how we are conducting research, how we are deciding the title. We are taking any problem and then thereafter we are turning over it. So, whatever problem is there, we do the literature over it, then we introduce the problem, then thereafter method and result will give the specific information about research project, while discussion and conclusion will consider the findings in the large context. So organizing all such research information. So this must be a very comprised form. Now what it should be? It should have first thing title. Last section we had already discussed about the title. That research title is one of the most important factor that influence the reader, that whether this particular paper is informative or not. Now see, the title must not be very large. It must have only 10 to 12 word long, and it must have descriptive form. It should not have noun and all. Instead of noun, the active verbs must be used. Now we must remember that proper descriptive word which shows what finding is done may be used as a keyword by the reader. Then we should avoid the abbreviation and jargons. Now see, I will show you one. Research title. See, this is the research title, market survey. Now, see, survey is the active word. So here, noun, etc. is not been chosen, and it is a small description that what study is been done. Now, next thing is the author and their affiliation. So it must include the name of the author. Then it must have the address of the author. Affiliation must be there, right? You can see we have the name of the author, date of the submission is written it down. Then writer must make a list of all the people who have worked. See, those who all have worked, their name, then they are student. Now here address, home address must not be written where the work is being conducted. So you all can see the name of student. I will mention now their designation is mentioned as a student only. Their college name, then their contact detail is been given. So the reader, those who are reading this particular paper, will get the chance. I will make 2 pages, right? Simply. So I hope how to write name is clear to you all. That first the name of the author will be written, then thereafter the designation, then thereafter the address and the contact details. Then next is the abstract. Now writing abstract is very important. You have the practical also, in which you will be given a research paper. You have to read that particular research paper, and thereafter you have to write an abstract over it. Now see, whichever, you can see some pictures are there in this. So these pictures are the original picture. Whenever you are publishing any research paper, make sure that you are going to use the original pictures which are clicked by you. You will not take from Google here or there. It is absolutely not allowed. Now, when we talk about abstract, we have already discussed abstract into the practical part, but I will just tell you in short that abstract is nothing but a concise single paragraph summary of the work, which enables the reader to comprehend an underlying principle behind the study. Now, if you will see the higher studies, when you are doing the research for on a large scale like your PhD work, so that time you have to read hundreds, or you can say 100 500 paper at least we have to read. So now this abstract gives the complete idea to the researcher whether this paper is for valuable for their studies or not. So this must be a very concise form of the study. So this underlying general methodology we use in the study, relevant result, important inferences, new question, all such thing must be there into the abstract. So if you will read, it is a complete summary of the research. In abstract, the use of words should be scaled down. Generally, only 200 to 300 words are there. Abstracts are different type like descriptive abstract, which is used into the social science and the humanities. Then we have the informative abstract. It is commonly used in the science and gives the information on the background, aim, method, results, and conclusion. Then structured abstract. It is typically found into the medical literature and the clinical trial report. Standard abstract includes the purpose of the study, that is hypothesis, objective, model organism, system, whatever model organism. Now see in the previous paper which I have shown you, you have observed that in that the model organism was a dried fish. So whatever thing you have done, it should be written in the past tense. Now, why past tense? Although abstract is written on the top of the research paper, but it is written at the end of the study. Understand? So it must be written into the past tense, and it should be stand on its own without referring to the tables and figure. There must not be any tables and reader. Past participant tense we are using. Then background information should be limited to one or two sentences only. Focus should be summarization of the result. Information in the abstract should be consistent with that in that paper only. Now, next thing is the keywords and the abbreviation. If you long word you are going to use, uh, suppose we are going to use a very common word which is repeatedly given in your research paper, and you are suppose it is MSG, you are writing for the monosodium glutamate. So that word you have done study on that you are going to use again and again. So that many times you don't type that big word, you can use the abbreviation of the same. So you have to write the abbreviation in the beginning, then keyword in the research paper. Now, why keyword is necessary? Because this keyword will give the idea to the reader that whatever they are going to work, it is useful or not. Then next most important thing is the introduction. Now, a good introduction should be comprised of three parts, that is called as the tripartite. A general presentation of the problem, what problem is in the present study, then looking all the aspects, then general presentation should be focused on the benefit of the research. Introduction should begin with a solid opening sentence which uses interest of the reader. Then second part must be effective introduction, need to have a lucid focused thesis statement which argues about the research topic and should be supported by the evidences present in the paper. Then justification of the choice of the topic which need to investigate the particular topic should be highlighted in the introduction. Now, it should contain the condensed version of the discussion. Past tense should be used to refer established facts since paper will be submitted only after completion of the work. So it is not like that will be done, will it should not be there. So why we are talking about the past tense? Why we are using the past tense? Most of the time what happens that we think like that the science people they don't require to pay so much attention on the grammar. Absolutely wrong, students. When you are presenting a paper, you must take care of the grammar. When you are presenting a research paper, that time also you will use the past tense when you are writing it into the journal, and that particular time also you are going to use the past tense. The reason behind that, that first you do the study in the laboratory and thereafter you are presenting your data after completion of your work. So that's why the research paper must always be written into the past tense. Is that clear? Now, next most important thing is the material and method. It shows the all experimental work you have done. This is exact design and methodology of the research. This section should be concise and it must include the information regarding the special chemical, biological material, equipment, which are uncommon in laboratories to avoid mention of the common result. It is not like that you are going to use the all small things you are going to use. Special things which you have used in the biosciences solution used in the experimental are vital and should be named as completely including the concentration, pH, aqueous solution, solvents if non-aqueous. So all detailed procedures should be given if special methods are being used. If well-documented procedure are used, report them with the name along with the reference without going into detail. Suppose you have used a very common method of extraction. I will not take any name, but it is the standard protein extraction method. So you will write down only name, so and so method it is being used. If it is into the common practice, then next most important point is the result. Now this is the most variable part of the research paper. It is depend on the aim of the experiment. For quantitative research, it is presentation of the numerical data, and for qualitative research, it should be a broader discussion of the trends without being too detailed. For a research that has generated a lot of results, inclusion of the table, graph that analyzes the desirable, leaving the raw data into the appendix. Now, when we talk about the explanation, it is very essential to link the result together than displaying isolated, unconnected chart, finding and figure. Most of the time, even I have read many research paper in which what they do, they make so many tables, charts, and all. So instead of dividing all such data into the small parts, what one should do, make the result together and make a single statement. Now when we talk about the discussion, so in the discussion we can do the elaboration and explanation of the finding. Here you can present whatever table and all you want to present. Now, see, preferably one should link the discussion back to the introduction, concentrating on each initial point separately. Understand? In the introduction, you have introduced the problem, so that particular problem must be continued discussing over here. Understand? So now, first you have introduced your problem, then thereafter, for that particular problem, what you have used the material and method, then what results you got. Now here again discussion will be continued with the problem. You are going to discuss the problem. Understood? Now it is imperative that every bit of the information in the discussion is directly linked to the thesis statement, which is the foundation of the entire work, informing the reader about what the paper wants to achieve, prove or disprove. So the topic can be expanded in the conclusion in the line with the hourglass of the principle. At the end, we are coming to the conclusion. In the research paper, conclusion may be restricted to only one or two paragraph. Recommendation for further direction, what can be done, would be given here. Now, next is the acknowledgement. The purpose of including acknowledgement is only to express the gratitude to all the people who have helped in this project. It is advisable to include the people in the proper order. Proper order means into the hierarchy. First, the now see here, emotional jargon should be avoided. It is not like that I like my friend who has worked to be acknowledged first. It is not like that. It must always have hierarchy. In the last lecture, I have shown you the slide in which I have shown you that how you are going to do the acknowledgement. You are going to do the acknowledgement to the first source first, then second will be maintained in a hierarchy form, that management or whatever working lab you have done, then thereafter your guide, then if you are doing the PhD work, first acknowledgement must be given to your guide, then the co-workers, then thereafter the lab assistant and all. The next and the most important thing is the bibliography. It is the references. Now, see, research paper, if you will see, is not possible without referring the other papers. So, review of literature makes your research very live. So, it is very important that we should have a proper draft for the bibliography by notifying down the full title, then author, place, publication, publisher, date of publication for source. So when assembling final bibliography, the source should be listed in alphabetical order by author's last name. Source without author should be put into the alphabetical order according to the title. When bibliography is handwritten, name of the journal book should be underlined. If typed, it should be italic. Guidelines to write bibliography are following. But I will show you one bibliography. See, this is the methodology. Introduction, very systematic introduction is written. Then methodology, conclusion, they have added the. Now this is the references. Few more references I like to show you. See, when you are writing the bibliography, what you will do, you will write the in a standard format. You are ordering it into the alphabetical, and you have to follow the guidelines given by the journal also. But now when you are referring a book, so here I had referred a book, but I have to search a lot. So when you are referring now, what are the standard practice for writing the method? Now I have shown you that how you are going to present it into the alphabetical order. Now next is how you are going to refer each thing. Now see, when you are writing the research paper, you are writing the, you are studying books, you are studying the newspaper, you are studying the encyclopedia, then you are studying the online resources, so many things you are compiling, taking the review from. So each and every type of the material is having the different way to write. When you are adding the book in bibliography, so you will write the author's last name first. Suppose my name, you are reading the book which is written by me, so my first name is Saba and my last name is Rais. So last name first, so you will write Rais Saba, understand? Then the title of the book. Now need to remember that title of the book must be written italic, then which city, which publisher, and what is the date of publication. Now most of the book do not give the date, they just give year. So if the date is not been mentioned, you will write the year. Now you may have taken reference from the encyclopedia, so that particular time you will write the name, title of the encyclopedia, because encyclopedia is not written by the single author, right? And encyclopedia have many edition, so you will write the edition date, then volume number. Now see, you will write the article title, because encyclopedia have many articles in that. Now on which page number that article is given. I repeat, for encyclopedia, you will write the title of the encyclopedia. Now you need to remember title of the encyclopedia, you will be writing italic. Then thereafter the edition date, volume number, then article title, then page number. Now when you are writing the journal, most of the time we are taking the research paper from the journal only. Author, here also you will be writing the last name first, then article title, name of the journal in italic, then volume number, date, page number. Now newspaper, so for the newspaper you will be writing the author's last name first, article title, name of the newspaper in italic, which city, then state of the publication, date, edition if available, then section, page number. Online resource, if you are writing, taking any online resource from the internet, if it is from the www, so you will be writing the www dot last name, first name, section of the website, title of the web, day, month, year of the access, or if URL is there, option, that is optional. Then modern language association MLA gives the basic format for the bibliographic information. Then at the end we write the table and the figure. Now many of the times the people add the table in that only, but I really don't like the idea. Table must be given at the end on, and you should mention that tables are at the end. So once the statistical analysis is done, data and results have to be summarized for presentation in the paper. Usually this is done in the form of the table and the figure. So table must be present a list of the number Then text in column which having a title. So figures are visual presentation of the result, which includes a graph, diagram, photos, drawing maps, etc. Graphs are the most common type of the figure which are used into the trends or the pattern of the relationship between of the set value. Every table and figure included in the paper must be referred to in the text. Okay, while writing your paper, you will be refer that the table is given at the end. In the manuscripts, table and figure are kept separately in the different pages from the text material. For the convenience of the reader, they should be placed as near as possible to the place of the first reference. So it is permissible to place all the illustrative material at the end of the result section so as not to interrupt the flow of the text. Now I am reading the research paper. This table will create disturbance. So instead of creating such problem, the tables can be kept at the end. Figures and tables may also be embedded in the text, but it is better to avoid breaking the text into the blocks. So better the tables must be given at the end. Now legends are the caption of the tables and the figures which must be clear and should be indicated at down into the context study. Legend should be complete and convey maximum information. Legend may include name of the organism studied, context of the result, location field, culture parameter condition if applicable, specific explanatory information to interpret the result, then what was the sample size, statistical test. In short, it is the detailed information of the table. Now, format for the placement of the legend, it should match the width of the table of the figure. It is not like that you might have read that below the table some information is written. That is called as a legend. Now table legend goes above the body of the table and it is left justified. Tables read from top to the bottom. Figure legend goes below the graph and it left justified. That from top to bottom or from left to right. This way it should be given. Now font which of the same size of the size smaller than the text should be used and consistently has to be maintained throughout the document. It is not like that one legend you have to use the font size 8 and other where you are using 12 because space is there. It should be avoided in the throughout the paper. The legend sign must be same. Now next lecture we all will be talking about writing a review paper. Now this is the paper which is written by doing a practical, okay, or you can say after using own methods, own research. But sometimes what happened that we just review paper and we compiled many papers together. We study one particular problem and we read so many papers and we write a review paper. So writing a review paper is totally different in that you are not performing any type of research, you are just writing the review. So we will see how to write the review paper into the next lecture. For this note, for today we'll stop.